Welcome back to Let's Talk Finances with Dr. Nina White. Last week we talked about systems and how structure creates consistency. But today we're going deeper because even with the best systems in place, people still make emotional financial decisions. They overspend, they delay their savings, they avoid looking at their numbers, not because they lack knowledge, but because money is emotional. So today's conversation is about the psychology behind your financial decisions, why you spend the way you do, why you hesitate the way that you do, and how to shift from emotional reactions to intentional leadership. So, hey, like I tell you every week, get your pen and your pad, call your family in a room, send a text message to someone and say, Dr. Nina White is on. Let's go. Let's start with something simple but yet powerful. Every financial decision that you make is influenced by your experiences, your upbringing, what you saw growing up, what was said about money in your household. Some people grew up hearing money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, I definitely heard that one. Others heard spend it while you have it. Heard that one too. Others saw financial struggle. Some people seen debt stress or even the financial secrecy. And those experiences shape your behavior every day, right? Even in this day, it happens, right? So, I heard about money don't grow on trees. I remember I wanted these shoes. I don't remember the name of them, but I wanted these shoes, and I went to my mom, and she said, what you think? Money grow on trees? You better get yourself a job. And I wasn't 16 yet. I was about to turn 16, but I wasn't 16 yet. Probably about 2 weeks from turning 16. And I don't think at that time you were able to like work at 14 or 15. I don't recall. However, I was going around to all these different jobs applying, and they were saying, how old are you? And I said, I'll be 16. I'll be 16 on April 22nd. I'll be 16. And so they gave me an application. They said, well, you come back when you turn 16. My very first job was Dairy Queen. And when I got my first paycheck, I got the shoes that I wanted because my mother said money doesn't grow on trees. And I knew, even though she did not tell me, I knew that whatever I wanted, I was going to have to make my own money and be able to get it because I probably wasn't going to get it if I asked my mother. So I definitely heard that statement, money doesn't grow on trees. And I also heard that spend it while you have it, right? Because I've heard it, well, I can't take it. I can't take the money with me when I die, so I might as well spend it all. So I've heard those things, and you probably have as well. You've probably even said it yourself, right? So let me give you a real example. I had a client who made more excellent income, but struggled to save. Every time she built up her savings account, she would spend it. Not irresponsibly, but consistently. So when we talk deeper, she shared something important. She said growing up, whenever her family had money, something would go wrong. The car repairs, bills, emergencies. So subconsciously, she associated savings with loss. So instead of feeling secure with her money in the bank, she felt uneasy. That's not a math problem. That's a mindset pattern, right? How many of you all have done that? How many of you been through this? Just take a moment and think about it. I mean, hey, when you see it, most of the times, like again, we're, our environment definitely impacts us as we grow up. Being raised in a single parent home until my mother had remarried definitely was, I didn't know we were struggling. I had no clue. You all may remember, I believe I said it on the episode before, and if not, I'll share it with you. I recall a Thanksgiving, and we had a candlelit dinner, and I had said something to my mother, and she said, "Girl, them lights was out." I didn't know, but she made, Thanksgiving was, but we sat there with candle lights on the table and had Thanksgiving. I didn't know we were struggling, but as a child, I didn't know that. But apparently, it impacted me as I grew up because I started to look at money a different way. So remember, it's not math, it's just a mindset. And you all know I tell you about that mindset. That mindset shift is very, very important. Another example, a client who refused to spend, even when they could be comfortably, when they could. I had a client who refused to spend money, even when they could come comfortably afford it, right? They had the money to do it. They had strong savings, stable income, but anxiety around spending anything. Why? Why was that? Because they grew up in scarcity. So even in abundance, they operated out of fear. It's like, you don't know, right? So they're like fearful. So that's another thing. So here's the key. If you don't understand your money patterns, you'll keep repeating them. Financial leadership starts with awareness. I've told you all this before. Not just numbers, but behavior. It's crucial, right? It's very crucial. Now let's talk about that emotional spending. I talked about it last season, if I'm not mistaken. Being emotional, doing things just out of emotion, just reacting. Because there is where most people lose control and they don't realize it. They do not realize that they're spending emotionally. Emotional spending doesn't always look like overspending. Sometimes it looks like rewarding yourself after a long week, shopping when you're stressed, saying yes to things out of pressure, upgrading your lifestyle to match others. Remember, I told you, stop trying to live like the Jeffersons. Don't live beyond your means. But this right here is key. I recall, again, being at the beach. People are out there trying to sell timeshares, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I know, I'm saying no. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, none of that. But some people like did it because everybody else was doing, or the salesman was like, well, you got to do it today. Oh, I know it's in my vocabulary. I say it really quickly. No, I'm not. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. Don't even, it's not wisdom for me to do it. All of that, right? And so and the other thing is you're trying to, like, if your friends, are doing this or doing that, and you're trying to live, you don't have to do that. You don't have to live beyond your means. Just because someone else is doing it, don't you dig a hole for yourself because you want to try to fit in, right? So let me give you an example. A professional client told me, I don't understand where my money goes. So we reviewed transactions together. And what did we find that was very interesting? Every time work was stressed increased, spending also increased. You hear me? Every time they got stressed out at work, they started spending more money, dining out, online shopping, quick purchases. Not because they needed those things, but because they needed relief. Money became a coping tool. Listen, when I get stressed out, I work. Listen, I love numbers. I do this all day long. People say to me, I don't know how you do this, but I love it. I enjoy it. So this is where I take my stress out, right? And I feel better after I've done some stuff, and then, I go about my day. So before it used to be food. I would eat all the time. But, I started looking at how much money I was spending. Mindset. So again, that money became a coping tool. Another example, a business owner who constantly upgraded equipment, not because it was necessary, but because it felt like progress. That's emotional decision making disguised as strategy. So listen, you have to be able to know the difference. Let's talk about some triggers. Everyone has them. Everybody has a trigger. Stress, celebration, comparison, fear, even boredom. Remember, I told you all in the previous episode, there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? So everyone has it. Everyone has a trigger. So if you don't recognize your triggers, they will control your decisions, right? Because you may not know. You may not have a clue that you're stressed out about anything, and then you'll just start doing stuff that you usually would not do. And so if you don't recognize it, it takes over your decisions. But let me tell you about that CFO thinking. Y'all know I love that. CFO thinking interrupts that. Instead of reacting, you pause. Remember, I always talk about that pause. You pause and you ask, why am I making this decision right now? That one question will save you thousands over time. What I do is say, it's not wisdom for me to do it. Should I do this at this exact moment? It may look like a good idea, but I need to think about it. Pause, always pause in that setting, right? Because again, we don't want to just be spending money and then we trying to figure out where it's at. The next thing is, how do you shift? How do you shift? How do you do that? Because again, it's a mindset thing. Because awareness alone isn't enough. I tell you all about that mindset. You have to learn how to shift when those decisions come, when you feel overwhelmed. What do we need to do? You need strategy. First thing is create a pause between emotion and action. Before making a non-essential purchase, ask yourself these questions. Do I actually need this? Is this aligned with my goals? Would I still make the decision tomorrow? That's that pause. That pause breaks impulsive patterns, right? It breaks it because now you're stopping and you're thinking. So now you're not acting and you're not reacting to your emotions, right? Because you've paused and you sat and you asked yourself those questions. So once you ask yourself those questions, secondly, you want to define your financial priorities first, right? You want to make sure they're clear. If you don't define them, then the emotions you'll be all over the place, right? Your emotions will take over if you don't define it. You got to make it clear. So when you know your savings goals, your investment targets, your financial timeline, it becomes so much easier to say no to things that don't align. Remember, I was talking about that alignment. I was talking about that last season. Alignment, alignment, alignment. If it doesn't make sense, please don't do it, right? If it doesn't make sense. I tell people all the time when they come into office, if it doesn't make sense to me, it's not going to make sense to the IRS. So, you got to make sense. Thirdly, build intentional spending into your plan. That is so important. Financial leadership is not about restriction. It's about alignment. If you enjoy travel, plan it. If you enjoy experiences, budget for them. When spending is intentional, it doesn't create guilt. So you're not guilty because why? You've built it into your systems, right? You built it into your system. Track patterns, not just numbers. Instead of only asking how much did I spend, ask this question. When do I spend the most? What was I feeling at that time? That's where the real insight comes from. A lot of people spend the most money, Christmas, birthdays, new baby coming in, sometimes babies, Mother's Day. Sorry, dads. We don't really spend that much money. We should, but we love the mothers. So when do you spend the most? So you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Fifth, give your money direction before emotion gets involved. I told you all that last season. Tell your money what to do. Don't let your money tell you what to do. When your system is set, savings is automatic, investments are consistent, bills are covered. You reduce the impact of emotional decisions because the important things are already handled. You've already taken care of it. So listen, let's just recap. Y'all know, I always want to go back, make sure you got it. Because again, it's that shift, right? Emotion. We don't want to react. We want to make sure we don't do this out of emotion. So, as I stated, remember, you got your triggers. Figure it out where you fall in at. Is it stress? Is it celebration? What I just tell you, most of the time we're celebrating something, that's when we're spending a lot of money. Comparison. Are you trying to compare yourself to a friend, a relative, another business owner? Are you trying to do that? Are you trying to compare yourself? Are you in fear of something? Are you in fear of losing something? Even boredom. You just sitting around the house, you bored. Oh, let me go to the mall. Let me go online, just start picking up stuff. Oh, this store got a sale. Let me go over here and buy everything I can get. Those things those are your triggers, right? Because remember, and I want you all to also sit back and think about the way you grew up, the people that influenced you. What did you see in the home? Did that affect you? Like, think about it, right? Remember, like I said, first things first, you want to create a pause between the emotion and the action. Create that pause. That's the first thing. Create that pause between the emotion and the action. And remember, secondly, define your financial priorities clearly. What are the priorities? Not the necessities, not the things that you want to do. What is priority? Thirdly, build intentional spending into your plan. If you want to go shopping or whatever that looks like for you, build it into your plan. Next, fourth, track patterns, not just numbers. Look at the patterns. What are you doing? What are you doing? Fifth, give your money direction before emotions get involved. When you do this, listen, I'm telling you, it will impact your life and it will change everything. And again, it's about savings. We want to leave wealth behind for the next generation. Teach them now. Teach your young kids now. Teach your grandchildren about it. You know, you're relearning about finances. So listen, I'm going to always leave you with something, give you more and more examples about things. But money is not just about numbers, right? It is behavior. It's definitely emotion, and it's patterns. And if you ignore it, you will continue to keep repeating these cycles over and over again. But when you understand your patterns and you gain control, again, when you align your decisions with your goals, you build confidence. That's financial leadership. So I'm going to always tell you, if you're ready to gain some clarity around your financial decisions and build a strategy that aligns with your life, we got you at M&D Accounting Firm. We got you. And we're always here to support you. Whether it's structuring your finances or organizing your business, or creating a clear financial roadmap. I just want you to sit and take a moment and just reevaluate your life, reevaluate your finances. My 8-year-old son has saved so much. Oh, I'm going to make you all laugh. And it's really not funny, but I'm going to make you all laugh. My son, he's on his tablet playing these games, and my daughter monitors, his activity. And so she sends me a screenshot. She's away at college. She sends me a screenshot, and she said, "This is the activity for today." And my credit card has now been charged $115. I almost lost it. And so I was like, "Bring me your tablet." I'm going through. And so now I'm trying to figure out, how is my card connected to this tablet? And I didn't realize that, my emails, on the other tab. So anyway, he got access. But he's 8, so he just tapping. He really doesn't know that. He just sees a point to growing, and he got some more credits. So he's just tapping away. So I had to take that from him. And I'm teaching him about finances, right, at a young age. So he goes into, when I tell him how much it was, and I told him, "You're going to be on punishment, no tablet for you for a while." He says, "Well, how much is it?" He goes into his piggy bank, pours all his money out, and counts out $115 and gives it to me, because he's like, "Well, here, Mom." And it was so, like, I had to keep a straight face, because he was so serious about giving me the money, because he spent it and he didn't know that's what he was doing. So funny. So I'm just telling you, like, I'm teaching my kids at a young age, but my son also realized that I put this money on my mother's card. I need to give her money back. He chose to give me the money back. It was so hilarious. But he was just like, "Well, how long are you going to take the tablet?" I said, "You're probably going to keep it until you're 10 years old, when you learn more responsibility." But he probably was without it for about a month, and then he got back on it. But we're watching, and I made sure nothing was attached this time. But I'm telling you, you have to be able to structure your finances, business as well. You want to be able to incorporate that no matter what. I definitely want you to know that M&D Accounting is here for you when it comes to your financial planning, right? So, as always, we had did the recap. If you have a question or a comment that you want me to answer, or you want me to state on the next segment, you can always reach out to us and send that information in. Make sure when you do send it in, make sure you say, "This is about Let's Talk Finances." And so that way we'll know. And you can ask the questions, and we'll read it and answer it on the next segment. And so that's one thing that I want to see. But I got a lot of people saying they're gaining a lot of information from even tuning in to the show, which is amazing. So I definitely, am excited. I know people are watching and everything like that. And we just want to educate and teach you about finances. We want to change our mindset when it comes to how we think about money, right? We want you to be intentional. Stay intentional. We want you to be aware, right? And lead with your finances. That's the most important thing that we can absolutely say to you. So remember, at M&D Accounting, we offer financial planning services. We do budgeting for you. We also have the bookkeeping services, the payroll, CFO services that we offer. Of course, we do taxes as well. Any service that you need that relates to accounting, reach out to us, and we may be able to assist you. And if not, we'll get you connected to the right people so that you'll be able to do that. So therefore, when you have questions, all we got to do is say, "Well, hey, I have a person that I partner with several different people," so you don't have to worry about anything. So listen, as I said, you can always reach out to us for anything. And, I have a lot of contacts, so I may be able to plug you into the right person. So you can call us at 1-877-839-7778. Again, that number is 1-877-839-7778. Or you can email us at contactus@mdaccounting.org. Again, that email is contactus@mdaccounting.org. Or you can send that special text message to 844-436-2788. Again, 844-436-2788. My QR code is probably floating around here somewhere, not sure, but get that phone, scan it, right, so that you can reach out to us. And if you have any questions or comments that you want me to answer on the next episode, make sure you send it in so that we can do that for you. I'm Dr. Nina White. Thank you so much for joining me on Let's Talk Finances. Remember, be aware, be intentional, and lead with your finances. And I'll see you next week.